creates more jobs, and it reduces the operating expenses, creates cross-organizational business, as well as it removes the human element from the whole process. So it makes sense because it's an automated business process. It's efficient. It saves time and reduces bias, as we mentioned before. And you hire the best qualified candidate, and you decrease the employee turnover rate. So this is just some of the benefits of AI in recruitment. Whereas that is it from my side. Really brief, concise. I think a lot of the information everyone is aware of already. We just want to just cover it again. And if you have any questions, you know, you have any discussions, I'm here to answer. And, you know, hello.
Thank you for sharing the information. Thank you for sharing. It's really so informative and very accurate, and it's very real.
Thank you. Yeah, it is good.
The only thing I would suggest for the people who are desperate to move on to is they should not actually pay for the visa until they got the visa in hand. They can make this as a condition or anything that helps them, because you pay and you don't know you will have a real visa or not, because they are not all of them educated. They don't know if it's a real visa or no, it's a real company or no.
Yeah, you're right. I think the problem isn't with that. I think the problem is once they arrive to the country which they pay for the visa for, and then they realize that they don't have a real job, and that puts them in a situation to where they are willing to do anything. You know, I mean, we see these guys and they're doing, you know, odds and ends work. They will do anything just to get more money. So I think the fact that they can get into Kuwait or to any other GCC country easily, it's, you know, I don't know, it's kind of like it's a big issue, and they're doing a lot. So there's a lot that can be talked about on the subject, but I guess the heart of the matter is that they're human beings and they're trying to do the best for their families. And when they come here, it ends up being a burden because of the fictitious companies who allow them to come into the market. So yeah, a lot to be said about the subject. Any other feedback? Okay, Mr. Shamil, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to stop.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Abdul Rahman.
Yes.
I know the fact that many people go to certain countries for different jobs and then end up in different jobs. From my how do you call that? From my opinion, all right, as long as a person get into a country and being registered as you know, having a pass to do some kind of a job recruitment, some kind of a job that has been designed, there has to be a registrar in the country like Kuwait that make them registered under the job. So if there is going to be a shift of the job, so all they need to what you call to re-register is to ensure that the person can survive under that particular new job, and that the sponsor is, whoever the next sponsor is going to take over, is also responsible to pay taxes or whatsoever. So to me, movement of people can be monitored and administrated. That's my point of view. It should not be burdened from the recruitment point of view. That's what I meant to say. It's the country policy. to
Yeah,
register?
I mean, I think the policies are there, but I think with anything, just human nature, because there, as I mentioned before, the GCC has, comparably to many countries, they have a real organized system. I think the problem happens is with the human nature in terms of the supply and demand of desperation of people actually, it's kind of like you have a capacity, every country has its capacity limit. And when that capacity limit is filled to its max per se, but then you still have people who want to come in. If those people still want to come in, they're going to knock on the doors. And if there's someone to say, give an example of a stadium or something as a country, if that stadium cannot hold those people, then you're going to have scammers who come and sell tickets from the backside of the stadium because there's people who want to get in. And those people who scam people, they know people want to come in, although there's a legal way to get in. You understand? There's a legal way to get in. But if something happens inside of that stadium, the capacity for that stadium is overburdened because it's not supposed to hold so many people in that stadium. So if something happens, whether it be a fire or some sort of safety issue, people may trample one another. It may be a big bad emergency. And this is what we saw in COVID, because there are more people here in illegal status than sometimes than it should be. And what happens is, although they do come in under the legal ways and they're registered as one job, they abscond, they run away from sponsors, and then they work under the radar. That's what happens in terms of the people here. So once they come in legally, they end up staying illegally, and then they wait for the amnesty periods, and then they go out. Which how can I? It's a big issue.
That just to share a few view in terms of during the present COVID time, people got to scan their presence in any premises that they go. I'm not sure about Kuwait, but in my country, wherever we go, we got to scan our phone or our registration inside a hospital, hotels, restaurants, clinics, wherever you go, even going to a company, you got to scan yourself in terms of your COVID status, right? So when you talk about AI and we talk about technology and talk about human movement, mobilization, and so on, there's a way for all these things to be captured in terms of legalizing people's movement. And of course, wherever they go, there's a purpose for that, even though they're going to work or they're going to visit or purchase something. So this is where I said it's the country's policy matters in terms of how they look at the movement of people, especially foreigners coming into the country. So to me, this all can be rectified by not looking at the what I call the recruitment process by itself, because it has its own legality. But in terms of the movement of the people inside the country, in terms of where they are, what they do, that should be monitored more as compared to finding the fault of the people coming in. That's what I meant to say.
We could talk about this issue forever.
Of course, that's why I said technology can address such of these issues. But if you can't find the fault of one as the door, as the gatekeeper, as the one that we're trying to resolve, it should be the fact that the movement of people all over Kuwait has got its technology all wired. So it's a matter of how you use that to monitor the people, rather than you trying to find the problem at the gate where the entry point is.
I agree with you. I mean, but as we know, just with human nature, and I think this is getting better. There's an attrition process is actually happening now to where people, the problem is getting reduced, and especially COVID now has exposed a lot of them.
This is what I meant to say. This forum has always been focusing on hiring and recruitment. It has never addressed on the post issues after hiring, after the recruitment. I mean, it's always focusing on before before the hiring, and how you hire, do the interview, and how you screen the people. That's more on the process about looking for the right man for the right job. But
Right.
after the event where people got hired, you got to look at the other component, which is the post, not so much as the pre-hiring.
I mean, that's, the before, during, and after. I mean, everything has to be, the employee life cycle has to be looked at from top to bottom, what the person is going to do once they arrive, and just, monitoring that throughout. So maybe next time we can talk about that in the forum. I think Mr. Shamil, he's doing a good job of organizing these. So maybe that's what we can talk in the future.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Just giving my views.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Hello?
Yes.
Mr. Abdurrahman.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for your useful information that's I went through with my headphone. Actually, I was not in front of the conference, but I was sitting in my room. With consistency of your bullet point, what you have apprised here, I would like to share something. How do you see another issue, like, of course, there are, the human trafficking consists with the recruiting agent and the people. Those are mostly financially making their self-benefit. It's a long back issues. And now you see when people, some of the times, the fake companies, say from some, the Asian countries, whenever the cleaning companies or the agriculture sector or municipality sector or the, when they bring the marginalized worker here, then, the thousands of people enter. Just as an instance, it's happened in 2000, before Corona, some specific countries, thousands of people has come here, then they found, they enter with genuine visa. When they came inside, they found themselves, the company is no longer existing because it was a fake contract. Then the country decided to, as per the rules, as per the law of the country, all of the workers has to go back to their original country, their home country. So this is one of the big issues here for the workers, because they enter with valid visas. After entering, they find themselves no existence of the companies. And in terms of that, they are going back to the home countries as per the laws of the country, as well as you see the people when comes here for certain period, like, the government project, which is consisted of the contracting, construction, cleaning, whatever. So for certain period of times, like 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, whatever. So once they finish their contractual terms, then they are either to go back or to renew by, having a certain amount like 300 KD, which is goes for the PAM, Public Authority of Manpower, is a forcible things like that. So this is at the end, you see this marginalized workers, these are all victims. How do you find into that, and how it has a solution?
I think, as some of the research suggests, it starts in the home countries more so. Like they mentioned, the Philippines have a good model because, and then there's some pacts or some agreements that they have with the UN that some of the, the Asian countries, for example, Bangladesh and specific Pakistan, some of those countries haven't signed those pacts about human trafficking, those specific things. It becomes like it starts at the top in terms of what the management and the leadership of that specific country wants to do in terms of the human resource development of that country. Because although those countries say, for example, they have, they're developing, they have marginalized people there, people who have low educations, who are willing to leave, if they can establish those people to migrate in an organized manner from that side of the fence, then it makes it easier before they leave. You know, it makes it easier before they leave that country, because if there's a corrupt hand that's willing to shake another corrupt hand, then it just makes it easier to do corruption, I think. You know, if there's no, if I won't extend my hand to you and you know I'm going to do something bad, then you won't extend your hand to me. So, but of course, on the opposite side, if there's something that's available, there's a bridge. And if that bridge is there in terms of the corruption part, then of course there's going to always be deals made under the table. But it starts in those home countries, and that's why they mentioned in the report. And I have all my references, by the way. I can share my references and everything. There's a lot of references on this stuff, and specifically about this subject. But I think it starts in the home countries more so, because they're extending the hand and they're giving the manpower. And then the receiving countries, you know, of course, they're establishing fictitious companies. And then, of course, the laws of Kuwait, for example, even in the GCC, I looked at Qatar. Qatar has now come online. A lot of the companies in the GCC, they're trying to police this policy, and they're giving fines and they're fining people. They're doing checkpoints and they're rounding people up. I mean, they're doing a lot. I mean, we know that because we've been here for a long time. But it's an ever-going cycle of supply and demand. People want to have better lives, and you know, what can you do? You just have to manage it better, I think, from the top standpoint, from a managerial standpoint, government standpoint. That's my take on it. I don't know. It's a lot to be said about the subject.
Lot to be said about it, yes, and lot to be think of. Okay, to research, experiment based to explore. And here, so as we are focusing with the AHR visa trading, the intervention onto the visa trading of artificial intelligence. So how do you find in practical it would be working with?
Yeah, I think AI would be really good. I mean, in terms of utilization for to resolve visa trading, if companies will start establishing that, especially in the fact that there's no personal bias. You have this computer system utilizing, you know, algorithms and facial recognitions and understanding exactly who that person is. This would help. You know, it's not anyone sliding anything under the table. My cousin, my brother, is no deals made. It's okay. You want to interview 1,000 people? Let the computer interview 1,000 people. The candidates who are the most qualified get the job, and we make the short list and give that to the company. And then they say, okay, these people have been vetted. And once that technology vets the people, then they can rest assured that they have the best people based upon the technology. You know, I think it's a really good system to use.
Very good.
But now you have to market it more to make people believe in it.
Yeah. So we need to familiarize this process to the market. We need to introduce this. So I look forward to see you personally to discuss more precisely into this phenomena. Thank you very much.
Charlie, thank you. I'm here. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Rahman.
Thank you, Shamil. How are you?
Fine, going on.
Good. Okay. I don't know if there's a break or is it someone directly asking me?
It's a